All right, let's talk about something that happens way more than people like to admit. You had sex with them. Maybe once, maybe a few times. They've said all the right things. They've made you feel wanted. They've made you feel chosen. It almost feels like it's too good to be true. And now they're gone, completely ghosted. No messages, no explanation, just silence. And yeah, it really doesn't feel good. Before we go any further, let me introduce myself to those people that don't know. My name is Chris Hodgson. I'm a former adult actor and professional companion, which means I've seen sex, dating, relationships from a very, very honest place. And just like you might have, I have been ghosted. And I've also ghosted people myself. I've been the hurt one, and I've also been the one who didn't handle things properly. So this video isn't about blaming, it's about understanding. Now let's start off by saying the bit people really don't want to hear. Plain and simple, sometimes they have just used you. And yes, I know that's uncomfortable to hear, but it's true. Sometimes someone will say everything you want to hear just to get you into bed. You might have heard things like, let's see where this goes. I feel a real connection with you. I'm not usually like this. I really want something. But in their head, they already know they don't want something long term. They just want your body. They want the experience, and they just want the sex. And once they've got it, they're done. That happens. And listen, that doesn't mean you were stupid. It means they weren't honest. Now this goes both ways. Let's be honest, men do this a lot more than women. But women, you guys do it too. Sometimes women want validation. Sometimes they want intimacy without commitment. Sometimes they just want to feel desired again. So it isn't the men are bad, women are manipulative. This is just a human behavior thing. Now, first off, why do a lot of men do this? For men, typically, it's about a goal, okay? The chase, the win, the feeling of, I got her. The mindset becomes, how do I say the right things? How am I going to play this? How do I get her into bed? Not, do I actually want to build something? You see, once the goal is reached, the motivation disappears. Not because you weren't good enough, but because he never wanted more in the first place. Now, why do women do it too? Women don't usually chase the win in the same way, but they can still use sex for reasons that aren't about connection. Sometimes it's loneliness, wanting attention, wanting to feel chosen, wanting power after a breakup. And once that need is met, they pull away. Again, it's not evil, it's just human. Now here's the bit that matters. Once you have sex with someone, remember, there's always that risk. A risk of attachment, a risk of disappointment, a risk of being ghosted. Now that's not you doing something wrong. That's just reality. You see, sex opens doors emotionally, even when we tell ourselves it won't. So if you've been ghosted after sex, it doesn't mean you were stupid. It means you took a risk, and taking risks is how you learn what you actually want. Now sometimes it's not all about you. Now this part really matters, because sometimes it's not that they used you. It's simply that they've got other stuff going on that you never saw. Remember, people have whole lives you don't see early on. Sometimes they could already be in a relationship and they are not supposed to be doing what they're doing with you. They don't want messages popping up on their phone day and night. So once they get home, they disappear. Not because you weren't good, but because you didn't fit into their real life. And sometimes it's not another person. It's their head. They're stressed, burnt out, dealing with family stuff, work pressure, money problems. And they use pleasure as sex, attention, and connection as a way to escape the moment. And you become the calm place. You become the distraction, the place where they don't have to think. But when they go back to their real life, they sometimes don't have the emotional space to carry you with them. So simply, they shut you out. And sometimes you were just never meant to be their partner. You were a temporary safe space, someone they could talk to, laugh with, feel normal with, but they don't know how to say, I'm not actually available. So instead, they disappear. Now here's an important bit. Understanding why someone ghosted you doesn't mean you have to accept it. Someone having problems doesn't mean you deserve silence. It just means their disappearance says more about where they are than who they are. Now, can you prevent this? Honestly, Not always. You can't control people, you can't read minds, and you can't force honesty. But you can try reduce the chances. What actually helps is watch actions, not words. Look for consistency before sex. Notice if they avoid emotional conversations. Pay attention to boundaries. Now, if someone rushes intimacy but avoids depth, that's usually a sign. And honestly, sometimes you just have to accept it. Now, this is important. You will get hurt sometimes. That's part of dating. That's part of life. And here's the real truth. If you haven't been ghosted, you probably will. And if you haven't ghosted someone, you probably have. Or one day you will. And when it happens to you, that's when it hits differently. That's when you think, wow, this doesn't feel great. And maybe you can change how you treat people after that. Now, how to deal with it when it happens. This is the most important part. If you've been ghosted, don't beg for closure. Don't chase someone who avoids communication. Don't turn silence into a story about your worth. Sometimes the lesson isn't, how do I stop this from happening? The lesson is, how do I handle it better when it does happen? There's no right or wrong here. No villains, no saints. Just people learning. Sometimes you have to learn the hard way. Being ghosted after sex doesn't define you. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you misread everything. It just means you were human enough to feel. And that's not something to be ashamed of. If you want to learn more about sex, psychology, and relationships, please like, subscribe, and continue watching my other videos. But for now, my name is Chris Hodgson, and thank you for watching.